So it's really fucking cold outside where I live. I've been freezing my tits off all day, or at least I would if I had tits, but I don't, so there's nothing to freeze off. But since it's so cold, it reminded me of a story that it isn't really a good story for me. I mean, it's funny to look back on, but it was not ideal in the moment. So I'm just going to hop right into it. So story time takes place a couple years ago. It involves me and my friends. And at this time, me and all my friends were in Boy Scouts. So if you don't know what Boy Scouts is, it's kind of like, you're just with a group of guys and you do like sort of, for the most part, like outdoorsy stuff. And, you like work on skills, be it like outdoorsy or like handyman stuff or whatever it is to like, you sort of earn merit badges, but I don't know. Pretty much everyone knows what fucking Boy Scouts is. What am I doing here? Like, you know what I'm talking about. So anyways, me and my friends, we're in Boy Scouts and our group decides that we're going to do a winter camp. Now, this experience was scarring. I'm just going to come out and say right now. And winter camps is always something that I reminisce on with interesting memories. But, beforehand, I was actually pretty hyped. I was getting excited for it. I'm like, this is going to be fun. I'm just going to hang out with my homies in the forest in the dead of winter, and it's going to be great. So I went out there because we had to be driven out to the spot by one of my friend's moms. We'll call this friend Harry. I believe I've mentioned him before. So this is my friend Harry and my other friend Zach, who I believe I've also mentioned before. Now, the three of us were stoked. We were really excited to, have a weekend to just kind of hang out with the homies. We thought it was going to be a good time. So we had all of our stuff packed. We hopped in Harry's mom's van and off we went to the spot. We were excited. We were ready to have a good time. So by the time we get there, we realize that most of the rest of the group is kind of already there. Like a lot of people are already here at this camp. So we get all of our stuff out of the car and, Harry's mom talks with a couple people, like the leaders of the scout group. And we're just kind of saying hi to the rest of the group. We're, just kind of doing our thing. And we ended up finding these like ice slides, which basically there was this giant hill next to our campsite. And this giant hill had it was like frozen basically. So you could just slide down these like slides of ice on this hill. But it was fun, but at the same time you had to like go down a certain way so that you could like catch your foot on a tree so you don't just like plummet to your death immediately. There was strategy to it. And doing stupid things that will probably get one or all of you hurt is kind of just hanging out with the boys. That's kind of how that goes. But it's just you know what it is. It's just regular tomfoolery is what it is. So after a while of doing that, we kind of go back down and we're like, all right, let's set up our tent, because Harry had this heated tent that we were supposed to sleep in because, it was going to get cold. It's the winter. I mean, we were sort of cold as it was. We were all bundled up in like winter coats and snow pants and like hats and mittens and everything, We were all good. We were warm, but it was going to get cold at night. We needed a warm place to sleep. So we had this warm tent, or so we thought we did. We went to set it up and we're going through all our stuff and we realized that Harry forgot to take the tent out of the car. So what happened next, I'm going to go ahead and blame on the leaders. Like, they should have prepared for at least some kids to, like, fuck up and not have a thing. But they didn't. So I was probably about, like, 12 or 13 at the time that this took place. So I wasn't very old. So basically what they told us to do is, I don't know, I think they called it like a quincy or something. I don't know what it's actually called, but basically it's a fucking igloo. We basically had to spend the rest of our day building an igloo so that it would solidify and be like decent shelter for the evening. So we did that. We did everything we could. Like, some people at the camp had decided this is what they wanted to do, is sleep in this igloo, but we weren't those people. And the people who had decided that had been there since like early in the morning and had been working on it to make sure it was ready. So we didn't have as much time to do that. So we had to spend the rest of our day, the rest of our daylight, trying to get this igloo together. And keep in mind, we had about 3 people. Well, not about 3 people. We had 3 people. It was me and my 2 homies, and we just wanted a warm place to sleep. And so we had to build this igloo. That was the solution that was given to us. And we did manage to build said igloo, but It was probably big enough for about one person, which was an issue because there was 3 of us. But, we decided, like, well, we can't really start again now. We can't make it bigger. This is kind of how it has to stay, so we'll make it work. So we let our igloo sit. We went and we had dinner. We had, like, this roast pig. It was actually a whole pig. I think, like, the leaders, like, dared someone to eat the nose or the ear or whatever it was. And I think my friend Zach actually did it. Poor Zach. He really suffered on this camp. So, after dinner and all the fireside festivities they usually have at a scout camp, it was time for everyone to go to bed. So everyone retreated to their sleeping quarters, which for the 3 of us was a one-man igloo for 3 guys. So we all piled in there, we shoved our sleeping bags in and we all got in our sleeping bags. And to be honest with you, I don't think I've ever understood the expression like sardines in a can more than I did in this moment. Because goddamn were we squished up against each other. This igloo had enough room for one person. I've said that many times, but I'm very serious. There was not room for 3 of us, but we had to get 3 of us in there. So as any of you long-term viewers know, my luck is fucking amazing, and by that I mean it's absolutely terrible. So every time something can go wrong, it will go wrong. So it just so happened that this night was going to be like the coldest night in a really long time, and it was super windy and started snowing. So as you all know, there's not really a door on an igloo. There's an entrance, but it's not exactly a door. So we were all in our sleeping bags, and we had this big blanket that was over all 3 of us that we were using to conserve heat. Now, my homie Harry, who I'm going to give it to him. I'm going to give credit where credit is due. He's usually a fairly intelligent person. He's a pretty book-smart guy. I'll give him that. But in this scenario, I guess the cold gave him the IQ of a fucking pine cone because he took the blanket and was like, I'm going to use this as a door. So he went outside of our igloo and he stuck a stick in the front and he hung the blanket off of it, which did nothing because the wind was blowing and it was basically blowing the blanket away. And basically what I'm saying is the blanket was not hanging down and being a door. It was being a flag. We didn't really need a flag. We needed warmth. So I told him he was dumb. And he just wouldn't listen to me, and we were kind of going back and forth until finally we took the blanket back in because we were all getting cold, and, we started feeling warm again. Or at least warm-ish, warmer. We weren't really warm, I would say. Like, we were sleeping, like, in sweatpants and in our winter coats. Like, we were putting all that shit back on. Like, it was really cold out here. And because it was so cold, we were all, like, trying to fall asleep so it would just be morning, but, like, we couldn't fall asleep because it was so damn cold. So we were just kind of talking to each other, and, we just say a bunch of dumb shit. You know how it is, like school trips and just like sleepovers with your friends at this age. Like, there becomes a time of night where what you're saying just like stops making sense and everything's funny, and we had hit that point. But alas, we did end up making it through the night, and all 3 of us are still alive. And all 3 of us are still alive and well, I think. I talk to Zach frequently. He is still a good homie of mine, and like Harry's still like a homie of mine. I haven't spoken to him in a little bit. It's been like not for any particular reason. Like, there's no beef or anything, but just haven't spoken to him in a bit. But yeah, guys, that is today's story time. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did. The moral of today's story is a pretty basic lesson of be prepared, because if you're not prepared, you're going to have to do what we did and build a fucking igloo, which is not something you want to do. I mean, don't get me wrong, igloos are cool, and if you want to sleep in an igloo, go for it, but put in the preparations for an igloo, because we were not prepared for anything in this scenario. But anyways, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did. Let me know if you've ever had an experience like this one, your winter camp experiences. I'd love to hear about them. I went on a couple more winter camps after this one, and I have definitely got some stories from those. So if you like this video, let me know, and I'll do more stories like this one. And subscribe if you're new. You all know the drill at this point. I don't really have to explain it. You know how YouTube works. So yeah, I'm going to stop talking now. Thanks for watching, you guys. I love you all. I'll catch you all in the next one. Later.